Hi everyone, welcome to the studio. My name is Sarah Zeffro. Thanks for joining today. This is the third video in a three-part series exploring and developing ideas through our artwork. In our first lesson, we discovered collage and how collage is a great place to begin because we're able to explore different elements of design such as texture and color, pattern and shape. We also created a free draw and also inspiration words that might further describe our ideas. We looked at artwork too from Bisa, Butler and Henri Matisse. In our second lesson, we discovered how observation, imagination, and nature can inspire us to think further about our ideas and through drawing. So we drew a contour drawing based from the artwork of Ellsworth Kelly. Then we looked at Max Ernst and how he filled in the leaves with details. So we practiced shading and capturing all the different details of a leaf. Our third part of our project included an imagination and also a drawing from observation. So we created the top part of our tree, which was inspired from our nature drawing, but then we turned it into this imaginary composition, and we viewed art from Monet, his landscapes. So today we're bringing it all together and exploring mixed media and using the artists today, Vanessa German, Julie Cockburn, and Gerhard Richter. So let's gather our materials and get started. Okay, so let's explore some of the materials you might be using in your mixed media art today. So I brought along some watercolors and a couple of brushes, some markers, Sharpie markers, colored pencils, and also some chalk pastels. So we're going to use all of these materials and create a few pieces of art exploring the topic of mixed media. Let's look closer and think about and see the art of Gerhard Richter. Wow, what materials do you think he's using? How do you think he creates all of the different layers and textures and colors within his artwork? What I'm noticing is that it looks like there's watercolor, there's crayon, and there's also pencil. So he created and mixed different art materials together to create an expressive, colorful work of art. Okay, so I have two blank sheets of paper and all of my materials around me. So I'm going to begin by creating two expressive pieces of artwork that explore paint, markers, pastels, colored pencils, explores mixed media to explore an idea and to use my imagination to create a piece of artwork. So I'm going to start with some pastels. So this pastel feels like sidewalk chalk a little bit, but the color is really, really bright. So I'm just starting by blending and just filling up a corner of this first sheet of paper. Let's switch to an orange color. So in our first collage, we talked about color, and we noticed warm and cool colors. So what do you think? Is this an example of cool colors, or would it be an example of warm colors? So I'm seeing red, then the orange and the yellow. You're right, so this is an example of warm colors. It feels a lot like the sunset or sunrise. Okay, so now that I have 3 colors in this top corner, I'm going to move over to a new material, and I'm going to use the watercolor paint. Okay. Some of you might have some watercolor paint at home, or acrylic, or any kind of paint. It's a really fun material to use. So I'm just going to play a little bit and add some yellow to this paper. Next, use purple. And notice how I'm blending the 2 colors together. So the yellow and the purple are mixing together because they're on the same sheet of paper. So Gerhard Richter was exploring crayons and paint and pencil to create these really expressive, colorful pieces of artwork. So today we're going to be doing something very similar. I'm going to add some pink. And if I add more water, the color actually becomes more like it becomes light. But if I add less water to my paint, notice how dark this pink is becoming, right? So art is about exploring and expressing and trying new materials. So we are using our imagination, and we're also thinking about our ideas from our collages in our first lesson. We're thinking about how we were practicing our drawing by looking, observing at nature, and also creating a piece of art that combined observation, so things that we see, and also our imagination. So I'm going to switch the material again, and I'm going to grab some, let's see my pastels right here. I think I'm going to use a lime green, like a light green. I'm going to mix it with the watercolor. So an idea, if you're using pastels, I'm noticing that I can use my hands to blend. I'm just going to blend some of these colors. Right? Kind of interesting and neat. I might actually try that with this red color too. And I'm going to blend it into the purple paint right there. Okay, so I brought this marker that I'm also going to use, and I'm just going to make some wavy lines. So down here, ooh, that's nice. I like that. I'm going to do that again, the same kind of line with this green marker. Fill in one of these, the spot at the bottom, the empty circle. So I'm going to wait a moment now and come back to this, but I'm going to now start this side. So I'm going to move my paints over a little bit, and what I'm going to do now is put my paints in the corner over here. That way I can see them, and we can get started on this other side, which I'm really excited about. Okay, so how can we use inspiration or what we've already done on this side? How can we use this and bring it over here? So we're taking our idea, our mixed media art, and we're taking it one step further, and we're going to now explore paint again, but in a different way. So I have some dark blue that I'm adding to my paper. I'm just using circular motion. So I'm just drawing like fun shapes. I'm going to switch it to another shade of blue, so like more like a turquoise blue. And I'm actually kind of like, feels like I'm drawing with the paintbrush. I'm drawing with the paintbrush here. And this side feels almost like the sky. I wonder if you think so too. I also wonder, how's it going at home? What are you creating? What art materials have you found that you're adding together to create a new work of art? So this side's sort of inspired by the sky. It's a beautiful sunny day. Also, here's some grass, some green. Some lighter green. So I'm going to now incorporate some pastel again. I'm going to keep it in the same palette. So I'm going to use a green pastel over here on the side. I'm going to use my finger to do some blending. I'm not going to blend this one. And what I'm going to do now is move my paints a little bit. And I'm going to now look, I'm going to stop and take a look at both sides of the paper. So you have a drawing on this side and a mixed media drawing on this side. So how can we combine or even further mix these two images together? So one of the ways I'm going to do that is take this yellow, and I'm actually going to draw it from here and go all the way across. Oh, nice. Let's do it again. So I'm going to draw another wavy line. I'm going to do that again with a brighter yellow, like a sunshine yellow, a golden yellow. And then do the same thing again. By doing this, what it does is it's now connecting this side with the other side to create a mixed media piece of artwork. How's it going at home? I wonder what you're creating. What materials are you using? What shapes and designs and textures and patterns are you creating? Inspired by the artist Gerhard Richter. So lastly, I'm going to add some colored pencils. Just a little bit, filling in just some spots on either side. Also going to use the blue. Okay. So one side sort of inspired by sunrise and sunset, and the other side is inspired by nature and water. Meet the artist Julie Cockburn. She's created mixed media works of art using colorful sewing and thread, and also photography. So look closer. What do you see? What do you think is happening in this image? As we explore our ideas and create art, it's fun to imagine using different materials to further explore our ideas. So with Julie Cockburn and her photography and art, she sews on top of her photos, and it creates an entirely new piece of art. In the second image, it might remind us a little bit of our second video project, which included observation and imagination when it comes to looking and observing nature. So this is a photograph of nature, the mountain, the hillside, the rocks, but she added some imagination by including the sewn colored dots. So how can we use a photograph or a picture from a magazine and add some new things to create and explore an idea and incorporate mixed media into our artwork? In our second work of art, we're going to be exploring the inspiration from the Julie Cockburn photographs that have the colored thread. And I'm using an art postcard by an artist named Edward Hopper. And this piece is actually at the Carnegie Museum of Art. And I'm going to use inspiration from Julie Cockburn and create a new mixed media work of art inspired and using this photograph of this painting. So today I brought along a pair of scissors and a little snippet from a painting. I like painting on paper and cutting the paintings and then reusing the pieces that I've cut. So that's what this is, this little like piece of a painting. I'm gonna cut just a little bit. And I chose this piece today because it reminds me of the sky. So I'm adding on, I'm growing this idea by including a little piece of my artwork with a photograph of another painting. So it's mixed media again. So attaching and extending the sky a little bit. I think I'm also going to draw on this photograph, and I have a blue marker. I'm going to just add a little more blue in the sky here. It's a really light blue, so it's just blending really gently with the photograph. And I'm going to also add some red, because art is also about your imagination and seeing things that we don't always see outside in our everyday world. So I'm gonna add just a few little red polka dots to the sky. Okay, I'm already really liking this. It's really fun. Okay, I'm gonna add some more green down to the bottom here, some marker. And I'm also going to add one more detail. I'm going to use a Sharpie marker for that. So I'm going to add like a little, another circle. And this time it's going to represent the sun. So it's a symbol for the sun right there. And also maybe we'll put a few little flowers, some leaves. Just a few at the bottom. So this is an example of a mixed media piece of art exploring an idea of a landscape, but using an existing photograph and adding some colorful details of my own. I'm going to tape this down. You might be using tape or even glue stick. And I'm going to cut another piece of this. Cool. Nice, so I just found this material inside of the pastel box, and now I'm adding it and creating a new work of art with it. Okay, so what do we think so far? Nice, right? So let's add a couple more things. So I still have that piece of painted paper from our last project. I'm actually going to draw a shape. So I'm going to draw a star. I'm going to cut out this star and add it to her outfit. So what would be an idea that you would be exploring? So one of the things I'm thinking a lot about are fashion and colors and textiles or fabric, different patterns. So I'm exploring some of my ideas by creating this work of art today. Cool. So let's add a few more things. And I'm looking around my desk, and again, I'm just using the things that I already have. And I have this little piece of cardboard. So I'm going to cut this and use it in our artwork today. So I'm thinking that this could be, what do you think? Like it down here? You know what I think we'll do? Let's color it. So I'm going to color this piece of cardboard and then attach it. Right, so as we're creating art, new ideas come to mind. So I'm inspired by all the color that Bisa Butler uses and the color that Vanessa German used. And so I colored this little piece red. Okay, so let's add it. Put it right here. And then I'm thinking that I will also color the other half of the cardboard, but this time let's make it like that dark green from our marker. So as I color this, I'm just turning it. That way I get all of the sides. Just like that. Looks great. I'm gonna add it right here. And let's take a look. So I have a portrait of Bisa Butler's quilt. There are blue pieces of paper added to the quilt to create like a halo, a star, some soft pieces of material that I added to the bottom that actually came from my pastel box, and then these little cardboard pieces, and a star from a painting. So that's my mixed media portrait inspired by Bisa Butler because this is her artwork, but also Vanessa German. So there are so many ways to develop and believe in your art and your ideas. And a lot of it is just playing and exploring with different art materials, going inside and going outside, thinking about things in your imagination, and also drawing from observation. So thanks for joining us during this 3-part series where we're exploring ideas through our creativity.